The narrative of faith begins with a profound divine summons, a moment that irrevocably altered the course of human history. God issued a direct and unequivocal command to Abram, instructing him to leave behind the familiar comforts of his life. This was not a suggestion, but a divine imperative, demanding absolute trust and obedience. Abram was specifically instructed to depart from the land of your kinsfolk and from your father's house. This command signified a complete severance from his past, his heritage, and the security of his family unit. It called for a radical act of faith, venturing into the unknown at God's bidding. The destination was not immediately revealed in its entirety, but rather specified as a land that I will show you. This ambiguity underscored the necessity of Abram's unwavering reliance on divine guidance. His journey was to be one of continuous revelation, step by faithful step. Accompanying this challenging call were extraordinary promises, foundational to the unfolding divine plan. First, God promised to make Abram into a great nation. This was a remarkable declaration to a man who was, at that time, childless and advanced in years. It spoke of a future far grander than his present circumstances. Furthermore, God pledged, "I will bless you." This blessing encompassed not merely material prosperity, but a spiritual endowment, a divine favor that would permeate every aspect of Abram's existence. It was a promise of holistic well-being and divine provision. The divine promise extended to Abram's reputation, stating, "I will make your name great." This assurance transcended mere earthly renown. It signified a lasting legacy, a name forever etched in the annals of divine history. His identity would be inextricably linked to God's purposes. Crucially, God declared that Abram would be a source of blessing for others. His life, transformed by divine grace, would become a conduit through which God's goodness would flow to humanity. This elevated his personal journey to one of universal significance. The covenant also included a protective decree. "I will bless those who bless you, and the one who curses you, I will curse." This powerful statement affirmed God's unwavering commitment to Abram and his descendants. It established a divine safeguard around his chosen vessel. Perhaps the most expansive promise was that all communities of the earth will find blessing through you. This universal scope revealed God's ultimate intention to redeem and bless all peoples, with Abram's lineage serving as the pivotal instrument for this grand design. It foreshadowed the coming of a greater blessing for all humanity. These profound promises, delivered at the very outset, established the immutable foundation for the future Israelite nation. They laid the groundwork for God's universal plan of salvation, demonstrating His sovereign power and His steadfast faithfulness across generations. In response to this monumental divine call, Abram demonstrated an unwavering obedience that stands as a testament to his profound faith. He did not hesitate or question the command, but rather acted decisively upon God's directive. His immediate response set a powerful example for all who seek to follow God. Abram's age at the time of his departure from Haran was 75 years old. This detail highlights the extraordinary nature of his obedience, as he embarked on a perilous journey in an era when most would seek stability and rest. His faith transcended the limitations of age and comfort. He was not alone in this momentous undertaking. Abram was accompanied by his wife Sarai, who shared in his journey of faith, and his nephew Lot, who chose to join their expedition. This familial bond provided a measure of companionship and shared purpose in their venture. They gathered all their accumulated possessions, the fruits of their labor and inheritance, and the persons they had acquired in Haran. This comprehensive preparation underscored the finality of their departure and their commitment to establishing a new life wherever God led them. Their journey was specifically set for the land of Canaan, a destination revealed by God as the promised inheritance. This land, though unknown to Abram, represented the fulfillment of God's covenant promises. It was the physical manifestation of their spiritual hope. Upon their arrival in Canaan, Abram passed through the land, reaching Shechem, a significant location marked by the terebinth of Moreh. This initial exploration established his presence in the promised territory, marking the beginning of his claim to the land. It was at this pivotal moment in Canaan that God appeared to Abram once more, reaffirming his covenant. God explicitly promised the land to Abram's descendants, solidifying the inheritance and providing further assurance of his divine plan. This appearance strengthened Abram's resolve. In an act of profound worship and dedication, Abram built an altar there to the Lord. This altar served as a tangible symbol of his renewed covenant relationship with the divine, a place of communion and thanksgiving for God's faithfulness and promises. It marked his spiritual claim to the land. Abram continued his journey, moving further into the land, eventually settling in the hill country situated east of Bethel. This strategic location offered both pasture for his flocks and a vantage point, symbolizing his continued movement and exploration within the Promised Land. There, in this new location, he built another altar, once again dedicating himself and his journey to God. At this altar, Abram invoked the Lord by name, a powerful act of worship and personal communion. This repeated act of altar building underscored his devotion and reliance on God throughout his travels. As Abram continued his journey through the Promised Land, he moved further south, progressing by stages towards the Negev region. This southward movement was likely driven by the need for pasture for his extensive flocks and herds, a practical consideration in his nomadic life. However, the land of Canaan soon faced a severe and devastating famine. This natural disaster presented a significant challenge to Abram's faith and his ability to sustain his household and livestock. It was a test of his reliance on divine provision in difficult circumstances. The severity of the famine ultimately forced Abram to make a difficult decision: to go down to Egypt to sojourn there. Egypt, known for its fertile Nile Delta, offered a temporary refuge from the widespread hunger in Canaan. This move was a pragmatic response to a dire situation. As they neared the borders of Egypt, a new fear gripped Abram. He expressed profound concern for his life, recognizing the potential danger posed by Sarai's exceptional beauty. This human vulnerability revealed a moment of anxiety and self-preservation. In an attempt to safeguard himself, Abram asked Sarai to present herself as his sister. This deception was intended to avert any potential harm that might come to him if the Egyptians desired Sarai and perceived Abram as her husband. It was a flawed human strategy born of fear. Upon their entry into Egypt, Sarai's remarkable beauty did not go unnoticed. Her striking appearance was quickly observed by the Egyptians, and word of her loveliness reached the courtiers of Pharaoh himself. This attention confirmed Abram's earlier fears. As a direct consequence of her beauty, Sarai was taken into Pharaoh's palace. This act placed her in a position of great vulnerability and threatened the very lineage through which God's promises were to be fulfilled. It was a moment of profound crisis for Abram's family. Ironically, Abram prospered materially as a result of this deception. Pharaoh, believing Sarai to be Abram's sister, bestowed upon him numerous gifts, including flocks, herds, male and female slaves, asses, and camels. This material gain came at a significant moral cost. However, God, in his unwavering faithfulness to his covenant, intervened decisively. He struck Pharaoh and his entire household with severe plagues, a clear divine judgment directly linked to the taking of Sarai. This intervention demonstrated God's protection of his chosen ones, even amidst their failings. Pharaoh, recognizing the divine displeasure in the cause of the plagues, confronted Abram. He realized the deception regarding Sarai's true identity. This confrontation exposed Abram's lack of faith and his attempt to manipulate circumstances. Ultimately, Pharaoh, under the weight of divine judgment, sent Abram away from Egypt. He departed with Sarai and all his accumulated possessions, a testament to God's powerful protection despite Abram's human failings. This episode underscored God's sovereign hand guiding his covenant, even when his chosen instruments faltered.